Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai.
Sadhu Sangha. Practical aspects of associating with devotees, and especially understanding the different levels of devotees. So there are three levels of devotees in broad terms, broad categories. Kanishta Adhikari, this is the lowest level. Then Majjhima Adhikari, Majjhima means middle, and Uttam. Uttam means topmost. So these three levels of devotees. In Jaiva Dharma, chapter 8, there's a wonderful explanation of the different kinds of devotees. So there it's explained that Kanishta Adhikari, they've started on the path of bhakti, but they're not real bhaktas yet. They will become bhaktas, but not yet. Achrayameva hariye, puja yak shraddhayehite. They're worshipping Krishna with faith. This is a positive quality. But natad bhakteshu, chanyeshu. They don't worship the devotees and they don't worship anybody else either. So their devotional service is partial only. They have faith. So this is the main qualifying fact. They have faith and they have sambandha gyan. They know who Krishna is. There are many people, especially in India, they worship Krishna but they don't know who he is. You go to their home, you'll say, oh, he's chanting Hare Krishna in ecstasy. You go to their home and you see the altar. They got Krishna, they got Vishnu, they got Ganesh, they got Shivji, they got Mataji, they got Grandma and Grandpa. Everyone's there. Everyone. And they think Krishna is a demigod, maybe, or he's an incarnation of Vishnu. And we worship anyway. He's a playful person. Like that. They love Krishna. They don't know who he is. So if no sambandha gyan, not yet Kanishta Adhikari. Even to be Kanishta Adhikari is elevated. Means he should understand the basic principles. What is Jiv? What is Jiv? What is the living entity? What is Ishvara, Supreme Lord? What is matter? What is spirit? What is bhakti? What is praying? All these things you should know, at least in outline. This is sambandha gyan. So main point is faith. So Srila Gurudev says that a devotee is Kanishta Adhikari as long as he doesn't have any aprakrita realization, as long as he doesn't have any like transcendental mood realization, then this is Kanishta Adhikari. So when he's worshipping, it's all lumps, it's all material. He himself is completely rooted in the material world, prakriti, and therefore he's called Prakrit Bhakta. And the objects that he's using, the arti lamps, the fruit that he's offering, the incense, everything is things. He's offering things to Krishna. No moods yet. So this is Kanishta Adhikari, Prakrit Bhakta. Gurudev says, Archan, what's performed by the Kanishta Adhikari, this is performed with the gross physical body and the subtle mental body. So it means that the mood and mentality of the gross and subtle bodies, they're there, mostly they're very predominant. But in bhajan, the devotee's physical and mental mentality and like mood, they're diminishing, and the mood of his spiritual mood is increasing. So Kanishta Adhikari hasn't got there yet. That's the difference Gurudev says between Archan and Bhajan. In order to come to the level of Majjhima Adhikari, the Kanishta Adhikari has to worship pure devotees. In order to get the mood of Majjhima Adhikari, he has to worship Majjhima Adhikari. Or Uttama Adhikari who's come to the Majjhima platform. That I'll explain in a minute. So, next type of devotee, Majjhima Adhikari. Majjhima Adhikari is more qualified than the Kanishta Adhikari, and he's got 4 special characteristics. He understands that there's 4 different types of personality in the world, and he has 4 different moods towards them. Ishre tadadhineshu balisheshu titsachucha. He knows that there's a Supreme Lord. He knows that there's devotees. He knows that there's innocent people who don't yet know about Krishna, or they're not firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness, but they're not envious. And then there's those who are envious. They're actually opposed to devotional service. And for these 4 different kinds of people, he has 4 different kinds of attitudes. So for Krishna, He has pure unmotivated love. He's not worshipping Krishna so that he can get something for himself. He's worshipping Krishna because he's attracted to the qualities of Krishna, and he wants to have a pure, unmotivated, loving relationship with Krishna, serving Krishna and helping Krishna to enjoy. Then friendship with the devotees, but according to their qualifications. So Maitri, friendship. And Thakur Bhaktivinoda says that this friendship, so practically what does it mean? How do we show Maitri with a devotee? Association, conversation, and service. These three things. How we relate to devotees depends on our status and their status. So how we associate with a very elevated devotee, how we associate with those on an equal level, and how we associate with those who are junior to ourselves, that will depend. I mean, it depends on our relative standing. Similarly, conversation, what we're going to talk about, that will also depend. And the kind of service also. The kind of service that we perform for a very elevated devotee, we'll do anything. Carry his pot, wash his socks, anything. Anything. Whereas for I remember when I first came to the ashram, so I saw Tirtha Maharaj. He's been with Gurudev for so long, he's a very advanced devotee. And at some point I offered to massage his feet. And he was horrified. He said, "No, you're like my father." So, what kind of service we offer to devotees, it depends on on the relationship. And there'll be like a relationship of there'll be an affectionate relationship and there's a formal relationship, and sometimes they're not the same. One devotee may be very senior, formally speaking, and another devotee, although junior, may be more advanced. Like when I came to Gurudev Sangha, I saw that there were devotees who were far more advanced than I was, but they were born after I started to try to practice Krishna consciousness. So what kind of relationship? Formally speaking, they're supposed to show respect, but in fact, I wanted to get the nectar that they had. So then, mercy to the innocent. Who are the innocent? Those who are not envious of Krishna. It means those who haven't heard about Krishna at all, but they're ready. Or also Kanishtadikaris. Those who have started practicing devotional service, but their faith is komal, it's very soft. They can fall down at any point. They can become discouraged. So Madhyamadikari, he wants to encourage the Kanishtadikaris so that they can come to a level of solid devotion. Like Gurudev says, if somebody gives up his material life but he doesn't have taste yet, he's in a very dangerous position because he can fall down. So Madhyamadikari wants to help the Kanishtadikari also to get taste for service so that it becomes firmly established and practicing very enthusiastically. And then fourth, the envious. So the envious is neglecting. Madhyamadikari neglects. He doesn't go up to everybody. He doesn't embrace tigers. He doesn't preach to the envious because they will actually bring him down. An Uttamadikari can give faith to anybody. Like, just recently, I had one devotee, he was going begging door to door, and one door, somebody was abusing him like anything. So he told Srila Saraswati Prabhupada said, "You go back there, and whatever that person gives you, you accept it." So he went back and he was like, and he knocked on the door and started, and it was a woman. She was so furious. She slung this old cloth at him, smacked him in the face with it. So he humbly said, "Thank you very much," and left with the cloth. He took it back to Srila Saraswati Prabhupada, and Saraswati Prabhupada said, "Now you wash that completely." So he washed the cloth, and then they used it in deity service. I don't remember. Somebody said he made Buicks with it, or he was using it, the handkerchief, to worship the deity. And then after some time, Saraswati Prabhupada said, "Now you go back." And he went back to the door and knocked on the door and he said, "What's going to happen is," the woman opened, and she was crying, "Oh, please forgive me, I've committed such an offense." So a pure devotee, they can create this faith, but we're not on that platform. So Madhyamadikari, we're not even Madhyamadikari yet, but we're trying to come to that level. So if somebody's envious, then we neglect them. Then question, if family members become envious, what do we do? We shouldn't, only in extreme cases we should give them up. We should deal with them according to social convention, but we shouldn't consult with them in spiritual matters. Otherwise there'll be social chaos. So if they, the first time any family member says, I don't like Krishna, they go, demon, and leave the house. Chaos. And actually for Kanishta, anyway, we shouldn't prematurely renounce. So this is a direction. To associate doesn't just mean physically associate, but it means consulting somebody on spiritual matters. So that's Madhyamadikari, middle class. It's huge category. And then finally Uttam, one who sees that everybody, he's actually in love with Krishna completely. And he sees that everybody has his mood. Like the gopis, for example, although they're beyond Uttamadikari, but they're saying, the clouds, they love Krishna so much. The peacocks love Krishna. See how the deer, Krishna Sar, they're coming and looking at Krishna with their husbands. They can come at any time in the day, but we don't love Krishna. They feel like this, we don't love Krishna, but everybody else loves Krishna. They're beyond Uttamadikari, but that's an example of the mood of the Uttamadikari. And he sees all living beings within Krishna. So this is Uttamadikari. So he sees everybody except himself as devotee, so how can he preach? Uttamadikari can't preach. But for preaching purposes, an Uttamadikari may come to the Madhyam platform. So we understand that our acharyas, they're on that level. That although they're Uttamadikari, but they come to the Madhyam level for preaching purposes. So therefore their preaching is very, very powerful. So to this Uttam Bhagavat, then we relate to them with what? Surrender, service and surrender. Everything. It's very auspicious. Whatever we have, what use is it to us? It's like if you jump into the sea with a heavy weight on, you'll drown. So all our belongings, our fame, our fortune, our good qualities, our learning, all these things, by ourselves, they're drowning us. But if we can surrender them to Krishna through the pure devotee, so then he'll engage them in Krishna's service. And give them back. It may be. Maybe not immediately. Somebody may be very learned, but Guru may not give him that service immediately, so you can wash pots. Like Narottam Thakur. First, what service he was doing? He was cleaning up the stool of his spiritual master. And then after some time he went to preach. So Gurudev if we surrender these things at Gurudev's lotus feet, so at some point he'll give them back and then we can engage them in Krishna's service. So Kanishtadikari, Madhyamadikari, Uttamadikari. Now we're on the Kanishta platform and we should try, by association with Madhyamadikari, by association with Madhyam devotees, we should try to come to that level and we should try to deal with people as Madhyamadikari. We should try to differentiate between the devotees, different grades of devotees, and who's envious and who's innocent. How we can do that? By taking shelter of those who are more experienced than we are, and gradually we'll get their intelligence and their understanding and their moods. And then Uttamadikari, so we serve with service and surrender. Hare Krishna.